Among the Yorubas, not only has this recognition held, and very firmly too, the race has indeed glorified this traditional recognition to such an exalted and enchanted position. At the beginning, all the constituted powers were vested in the hierarchy of the traditional ruler. He was seen as the representative of God, Igbakeji Orisha, holding the power of life and death over his subjects. Ikuba Bayeye. This explains the reason for the fear, respect, and admiration others enjoy even up till today. As a matter of fact, the Obas still command an awesome hold, especially among the traditionalists in our society. Historically, virtually all the ancient Yoruba kingdoms centered on their Obas and, of course, their various exploits and reigns. The magnificent palaces, relics, artifacts, and numerous tales and myths passed down from generation to generation have manifested the almost invincibility of these rulers. For centuries, the Obaship institution has held on and continues to shine as one great factor of the Yorubas. Without doubt, it has become the aspect of the cultural values which is still very dearly and perhaps tenaciously held onto. It is on record that there is no single Yoruba town without this institution and an elaborate and well-constituted line authority. Indeed, the Obaship institution in Yoruba land has been often described as one great tool used to propel the society forward in all ramifications. In Lagos State, is it any different? Of course not. The story is the same. In fact, the institution has taken a wide and glorified dimension in the state. For years, well before the city of Lagos was ceded to the colonialists in 1861 during the reign of Oba Dosumu, strenuous efforts had been put up by the colonialists to undermine and erode the powers of the Obas of Lagos. However, in spite of these contrived efforts like intimidation, incitement, and others, in spite of the actual secession of the city of Lagos, the consequent colonization and its attendant acculturation, and in spite of the influx of Western and Middle East religions, the Obaship institution continues to hold on and actually prosper. Today, the 5 main divisions of Lagos State have many notable Obas and chiefs. In Epe division, there is the Alara of Ilara, Oba A. Adesoya, heading the Epe Division Council of Obas and Chiefs. Ikorodu division is headed by Oba S.A. Oyefusi Oguntade, the Ayangbunre of Ikorodu. The Ikeja division is led by the Olu of Ikeja, Oba Momodu Ilo. The Weno Aholu Menutoi I, the Akran of Badagry, heads the Badagry division. The 5th division is Lagos, and it is headed by the Oba of Lagos, Adeyinka Oyekon II, who is also the chairman, Lagos State Council of Obas and Chiefs. The Obaship institution in the city of Lagos spans some centuries. Since 1630, when the first Oba of Lagos, Oba Ado, was installed, to the present Oba Oyekon, who was installed in 1965, the dynasty has witnessed some remarkable, tortuous, and eventful events. During this period, the city of Lagos transformed from just a mere fishing place to a trade post between the inhabitants and Portuguese traders, and a booming trade area to a city which the colonialists used as the seat of its power and subsequently the first capital of Nigeria. These events culminated to make the city the most important city in the West African sub-region. It must be noted here, however, that the tremendous growth and importance helped to elevate the Obaship and chieftaincy institutions as well. Thus, the eminent position Lagos Division enjoys today has almost made people to forget that other traditional rulers' reigns date back almost as far back as the beginning or even well before the reigns of the first Oba of Lagos. Apart from the Obas mentioned a little earlier, an installation of another prominent Oba is about to hold at Ajiron in the Etiosa local government area. The title is the Ojomu of Ajiron, a place once noted for supernatural powers along the main Lagos lagoon. You're probably wondering where Ajiron is. Don't worry, you are in the majority, because except for some few indigenes of Lagos, many people don't know Ajiron. Ajiron situates some few kilometers along the Lagos-Etiosa-Ekpe Expressway. In the past, before the construction of this beautiful expressway, it used to take hours from the shore of Lagos to get to Ajiron by canoe. The lagoon was then the main link between the city of Lagos and Ajiron. According to the tales, the first settler at Ajiron was Mugisho, a respectable hunter who migrated from Ile-Ife. After his long journey through many places like Isheri, he settled at Iberekudo Onife along this lagoon with his two sons, Osunwe and Omoronmoro. Since they were hunters, they were usually moving along the lagoon to Ajiron, where they ate their meat, thus the name Ajiron. They eventually settled there. In one of Mugisho's expeditions, he came across a powerful and mystical man called Ejo, who incidentally also migrated from Ile-Ife through Irewe, a town in the Ojo local government. As noted earlier, both Mugisho and Ejo were powerful beings with supernatural powers which placed them above ordinary mortals. When Mugisho agreed to Ejo settling down at Ajiron with his deities, they both combined to make Ajiron a budding trading and fishing center. They were so powerful that some of the legacies left behind, especially their deities, have over time become symbols of powers for not only the inhabitants of Ajiron, but also for surrounding towns across the lagoon as far as Ijede and Ekpe. Up till today, the dog for the sacrifice for the worship of Ayala, Eregun festival, is provided by the Alajede of Ijede in the Ikorodu local government as a mark of recognition of the prowess of the founders of Ajiron. It is also on record that the fishing communities of the surrounding towns depend on Ajiron to make special sacrifice whenever there is dearth of catches. Those who are quite familiar with this power never fail to point at these special and supernatural prowess of the founders of this town. Madam Balikisu Oluge, well over 100 years of age, says the powers of Ajiron are still potent and realistic. The Oba-elect also comments. He is followed by Chief Yakini Bakare, a prominent indigene and estate developer.
What actually was behind these mystic statements was the powers incumbent in the early settlers. Mugisho, we pointed out, was very powerful. Imagine where there was no canoe or no boat, somebody will just leave a door on the surface of the lagoon and landed here. We realized, we were informed that they were only spreading mats initially, and on top of mats they were coming to Ajiron, and that Ejo himself, as we know the name, the real name we couldn't get, because as a matter of fact, nobody from history said that he met that man. It was a Passover history, and that from Elisha to Erewe, you understood that he transformed into a boa.
So the power being conferred on Ajino, or being Ajino as Ajino, is before years, centuries before the power is still there. So far, one comes to this Ajino with one mind.
Apart from the powers left behind by the founders, Obaship of Ajino is another important and lasting legacy. First, since the founders emigrated from Ile-Ife, the cradle of Yoruba and the seat of Yoruba monarchy, it was not surprising that these founders had royal connections and therefore brought royalty with them. According to oral history, the former Obaship institution started after the invasion of Lagos, then known as Eko, by the Beninese in the 18th century, with the installation of Akinson, the first Ojomuoloja, by the Odofin, the head of kingmakers. Note this: at the beginning, the Odofin crowned the Oba without having to seek or obtain permission from anybody. Akinson, the first Ojomu, was succeeded by Ayeloro. After him was Adogun Oluge. Then came Shashono. Amosu succeeded Shashono, while Opesheyi ruled after Amosu. The death of Opesheyi started to change the mode of installation of an Ojomu, because the selection of Opesheyi's successor was characterized by rancor and bickering. Shateru I, who was picked to succeed Opesheyi, was not accepted by some in the Ajero community. The bickering was explosive enough to prevent the installation of Shateru at Ajero. Shateru had to be installed at Enwawa in Lagos by the Electro Dibo due to the influence of the then Oba of Lagos, Dosumu. After the installation in Lagos, Shateru was then after permitted to observe the compulsory traditional Ikwebe at Iberekodo. The installation event marked a turning point in the history of Ojomu Obaship institution. It led to the relegation or seeing the Ojomu as an Idejo white-cap chief of Lagos. However, to the people at Ajiro at that time, it was considered a sophistication for their traditional ruler to be installed in Lagos. Shateru was succeeded by Ajayi Badiaron in 1898. Olugbosi, who mounted the throne after Badiaron, was succeeded by his son Kasumu Morondia. The three rulers after Shateru were capped at Enwawa in Lagos by the Electro Dibo. Another twist of history took place when Kasumu Morondia passed away. Salami Oyebola, who was chosen to succeed him, met with stiff opposition from a faction supporting Raji Fatusi, the Ajaguna. The supporters of Ajaguna were able to prevail on the then Electro Dibo not to cap Salami Oyebola, but since Salami Oyebola had the majority of the people behind him, the then Oba of Lagos, Oba Falolu, directed the Olumegbo of Lagos to cap Salami Oyebola in March 1943. Salimonu Oyebola, who succeeded him in 1953, was followed by his son Amusa Adebambo in 1974. Their installations were performed by the Olumegbo of Lagos. It was after the death of Amusa Adebambo in 1986 that the community decided to correct the erroneous classification of Ojomu. This fact, coupled with the fact that Salimonu Oyebola, who was a member of the former Western Region House of Obas and Chiefs, was accorded the status of a first-class Oba, made the community to present them before the Akibo Savage Tribunal on Obaship and Chieftaincy matters in Lagos State. Their plea to restore the Ojomu as a first-class Oba was accepted and recommended to the government. Ajiron is an ancient town with an established administrative structure. Presently, it is divided into 6 quarters, each under a traditional head. These quarters include the Odofin, Ejo or Idumejo, and Ido-Ijebu quarters. Others are Ojomu, Idumawe, and Shateru quarters. Just like other ancient Yoruba towns, the traditional system is not different. Headship of the traditional administration is vested in the Ojomu, who would have been thoroughly schooled in the art of traditional governance while at Ikpebi. By the way, Ikpebi is the traditional seclusion and communing period of an Oba-elect. For the Ojomu, the period is 3 months, 3 weeks, and 3 days. This period used to be 3 years, 3 months, 3 weeks, and 3 days in the past. During the Ikpebi, the Ojomu-elect is tutored in all the mores and genealogy of the Obaship, the town, and all relevant facts, in addition to various sacrifices as appropriate. The Ojomu is assisted by the Council of Traditional Chiefs of Ajiron, which as the Ojomu in Council makes policy decisions as may be warranted, especially in matters that affect the tradition, culture, and life of the people. When Chief Murisaka Odofin, the Kingmaker, was asked to comment on why it has taken the community a long time to choose another Ojomu since the last one passed away in 1986, he answered that first, the community was concerned with correcting the erroneous classification of the Ojomu, and after the appropriate classification, that is, to first-class Obaship, the community has chosen Oba-elect Tijani Adetunji Akinloye. Chief Muri Odofin said that the Oba-elect selection was greeted with so much enthusiasm and happiness. Who is Oba-elect Adetunji Akinloye? First to speak is Chief Yekini Bakare, then Mr. Isiaka Giwa, and Prince Abayomi Ojomu, all prominent indigenes of Ajiron.
He is fully added that he will hear both sides before conclusion. He is not the person that if A comes and says this is what B does, that we just take it up like that. He will try to see both sides and weigh it before he gives his decision.
We are very grateful to God for giving us that choice of the Oba-elect. And the whole community have come together. We have his attitude in the town, his contribution to the development of Ajiron morally, financially, socially. He has contributed a lot of progress to this town, and it is people's choice.
We really love him. In fact, the whole community was joyful the day it was being announced that it's elected to be the cabinet of the community. In fact, it's a glory to every one of us in this community, both young and old. And I will take this opportunity to pray to Almighty Allah to grant him a long life and the prosperity on the throne.
One of the first striking features of the Oba-elect is his pleasant and friendly disposition. He is so unassuming that it is hard to accept that he has noble and royal blood in him. He is described by the kingmakers as a cool, peaceful, and loving man of the Ojomu dynasty. Another trait which has endeared him to people is his leadership qualities, manifested right from the primary school days when he was made a prefect in Standard 5 at St. Matthias Catholic School, Lafiaji, Lagos, an unusual occurrence at that time. These leadership qualities continued when he gained admission into Hussey College, Warri, in 1957 as one of the few Lagos indigenes. At Hussey College, he started as a class monitor right from Form 1 and continued till he was made the senior prefect in his final year at the school in 1962. He attended Abeokuta Grammar School for his higher school certificate. To him, all the leadership roles he played in schools were just as normal as passing his examinations in very good grades, which he did. In 1964, the Oba-elect had his higher school certificate and had to work for some time due to the death of his father. In 1970, he proceeded to the then University of Ife to study agricultural education and obtained a BSc Honours in 1974. After his National Youth Service at Form Training Center at Dambata, Kano, where, because of his exemplary qualities, he was asked to stay on, but which he had to turn down due to the conviction to stay close to his people. He took up a job, a teaching appointment with the Lagos State government at the Zumratu Islamia Grammar School, Yaba. His quest for knowledge pushed him again, and apart from various courses and seminars, he got a postgraduate diploma at the University of Lagos in 1981-82. The Oba-elect was appointed principal in 1983 and posted to head Ilado Community High School, Etiosa, where he retired in 1991. After his retirement, he was appointed Executive Secretary, Etiosa Local Government Educational Authority, the position he held until he was chosen to be Ojomu-elect in May 1993. Akinloye has become the symbol of the people of Etiosa by virtue of his cultural astuteness and keen grasp of detail and a proper habit of keeping of history and cultural aspects. One of his strongest inclinations is his instinctive understanding of what makes the cultural aspect of Ajiron tick. He emphasized that there is no single aspect of development, physical or cultural, that took place within the last 20 years in Etiosa that he did not know about. To say that his first priority is the total development of Ajiron and environs is stating the obvious, considering the Oba's education and commitment.
My vision in this area, God's willing, will be to make the area area of tourist attraction. Yeah. We have started, and we want to make Ajiron in particular a place of pointer, you know, to people in years to come. Well, I will tell you one thing. Now, in the past 6 months, we just said through a suggestion that we want to carry out a project by which will be a singular one. So the idea just came, let's go by electricity. And I have to tell you, we are commissioning the rural electrification project at Ajiron the same day of the coronation, which has gotten about more than 3 million.
Born September 6, 1940 to Omoba Lasisi Bolaji Akinloye Shateru and Olori Awawu Abeke Akinloye, Oba Tijani Adetunji Akinloye Shateru II has wormed his way into the hearts of his people through commitment, cultural astuteness, sincerity, and meaningful compromising attitudes. Besides being a complete and loving family man, his people consider him their true symbol, whose breadth of vision is alluring and hopeful. Since the Oba-elect will complete his Ikpebi on Friday, October 22, 1993, the installation and presentation of staff of office and instrument of appointment will be performed by His Excellency, the Governor of Lagos State, Sir Michael Otedola, on Saturday, October 23, 1993, at Ajiron in Etiosa local government. According to the people, it will be a day to remember. The Gbedu will sound like never before, and traditional and cultural displays will thrill everybody.
I believe that day will be the historical time in my life, because although we've been getting some over in Ajiron, but this is going to be the best and first class. And I believe if I'm asked to write my happiest day in any essay, I think the coronation day of Oba Akinloye is going to be my best day I will pick.
As Oba Tijani Adetunji Akinloye ascends the throne of his forefathers as the 14th Ojomu and a first-class Oba, the entire people of Ajiron and its domains in Etiosa and the people of Lagos State greet and wish you long and prosperous reign. Kabiesio.